The alarm screamed through the human patrol ship Steadfast. Taman rushed to his station in the command center, his fingers moving fast across the console. Red lights flashed everywhere. Commander Dayung stood at the main screen, her face tight with concern. "Report," Dayung said, her voice calm despite the chaos. "Distress signal, Commander," Taman replied, reading the data. 20,000 kilometers ahead. Ship is badly damaged. Life signs are weak, Dayung frowned. "Identify the vessel." Taman's fingers froze over the keyboard. His stomach twisted. "It's a Krathul warship, Commander." The bridge went silent. Everyone knew about the Krathul. They were massive warriors standing over 12 feet tall with 4 powerful arms. Their race had been fighting in wars for thousands of years. They looked at humans as weak creatures barely worth noticing. The Krathul had voted against humanity joining the Galactic Council 3 times. "Should we respond?" asked Hyunwoo from the engineering station. He was Taman's best friend, but even he sounded uncertain. Dayung stared at the screen for a long moment. Politics said they should leave. The Krathul hated humans, but her humanity said something different. "We respond," she finally said. "Prepare medical bay. Taman, you're with me." They found the Krathul ship drifting in space, torn apart by weapons fire. Bodies floated in the void. Massive armored figures frozen in death. Pirates had attacked them, hitting hard and fast before running away. Inside the ship, the damage was worse. Blood covered the walls. Equipment sparked and smoked. They found him in the command center, slumped against a broken console. Vorath. His armor was cracked, his blue-gray skin showed through, covered in burns and cuts. One of his 4 arms hung useless at his side. "Leave me," Vorath growled when he saw them. His voice was deep like thunder. "I need no help from humans." "Too bad," Taman said, kneeling beside him. "You're getting it anyway." Vorath tried to push him away with one massive hand, but he was too weak. Taman dodged easily and pressed a medical injector against the warrior's neck. The pain medication worked fast. Vorath's eyes widened in surprise, then began to close. "Why?" he whispered before unconsciousness took him. "Why help me?" "Because it's right," Taman said simply. Getting Vorath onto the Steadfast took 6 crew members and an equipment lift. They put him in the medical bay where the ceiling had to be raised to fit him. Dr. Nari worked on his injuries for 6 hours straight. Taman stayed nearby the whole time. When Vorath woke 3 days later, Taman was sitting beside his bed, eating a ration bar and reading reports on his tablet. "You are still here," Vorath said. His voice was stronger now, but confused. "Someone needed to make sure you didn't break anything when you woke up," Taman replied, not looking up. "You're pretty big. Could do a lot of damage." Vorath stared at him. "Mock me if you wish, human. I am your prisoner." Now Taman looked up, genuine surprise on his face. "Prisoner? You're a patient. There's a difference. I do not understand your species," Vorath said slowly. "My people have been cruel to yours. We have called you weak. We have blocked your advancement in the council. Why save me?" Taman set down his tablet. "Want to know a secret about humans? We're stubborn. When someone needs help, we help them, even if they've been jerks to us. Maybe especially then, jerks. It means people who are not nice." Vorath made a sound that might have been a laugh. It turned into a cough. Taman quickly grabbed water and helped him drink. The massive warrior accepted the help, though his pride clearly hurt more than his wounds. Over the next 2 weeks, something strange happened. Taman visited Vorath every day. At first, the warrior refused to speak. But Taman kept coming, bringing food, talking about his life, asking questions about Krathul culture. Slowly, Vorath began to answer. "We are taught that strength is everything," Vorath explained one evening. "Physical power, combat skill, honor in battle. Your species has none of these things. You are small, fragile. You have only been in space for 200 years. We have been warriors for 10,000. "True," Taman agreed, chewing on a protein bar. "We're pretty new to all this. But you know what? Being small taught us to be smart. Being fragile taught us to work together. Maybe that's a different kind of strength." Vorath was quiet for a long time. "Perhaps," he finally said. "You stayed by my side when I could not defend myself. You showed me kindness when I deserved none. This is not weakness. I was wrong about your people. Some of us are still learning about yours too," Taman said with a smile. Hyunwoo came by often, fascinated by Krathul technology. He and Vorath spent hours discussing ship systems, weapon designs, and engineering problems. Despite the language barrier and cultural differences, they found common ground in their love of machines. Commander Dayung visited once. She stood at the door, arms crossed, studying the massive alien warrior. "Thank you for saving me, Commander," Vorath said, his voice formal. "I owe you a life debt." "Save your thanks," Dayung replied. "We did what humans do, but I'll accept your respect if you're offering it." Vorath placed all 4 hands over his chest, a Krathel gesture of deep honor. "You have it, Commander. You and your entire crew." On the 18th day, alarms rang again. Taman ran to the bridge. Dayung was already there, her face grim. "What is it?" Taman asked. "Long-range sensors picked up a fleet," she said. 30 ships. Same energy signatures as the weapons that destroyed Vorath's vessel. "Pirates," Vorath said from the doorway. Everyone turned. The massive warrior had to duck to enter the human-sized bridge. He was still healing, but he could walk now. "The Crimson Tide, they are the worst. They attack, steal, and destroy. No mercy. No honor." "Where are they headed?" Dayung asked. Taman's blood went cold as he checked the trajectory. "Sabil Station. Our colony world. 50,000 people live there, Commander. Mostly civilians, families." Dayung's jaw tightened. "How long until they arrive?" 4 days. We can reach the station in 3 if we push the engines. Reinforcements? 6 days minimum, Hyunwoo said quietly. "The main fleet is too far away." The bridge was silent. Everyone understood what this meant. 1 small patrol ship and a barely defended colony station against 30 pirate vessels. The math was simple and brutal. Vorath stepped forward. His massive frame cast a shadow across the room. "I know their tactics. I know their weapons. I know how they think. Let me help you." Dayung looked at him carefully. "Why? These aren't your people we're protecting." Vorath looked at Taman, then back to the commander. "A human stood by my side when I needed help. Now I will stand by yours. This is the Krathel way. Honor demands it. And more than honor, friendship demands it." Taman felt something warm in his chest. Respect, trust, the beginning of something important. "Can we win?" Dayung asked. "Probably not," Vorath said honestly. "But we can make them pay for every meter. We can save lives. We can stand together and show these pirates what happens when humans and Krathel fight as one." Dayung smiled, fierce and determined. "Then we'd better get to work. Taman, Vorath, you're in charge of defense planning. Use everything we have. Hyunwoo, push those engines until they scream. Everyone else prepare for battle." As the crew rushed to their stations, Taman stood beside Vorath. The human barely reached the warrior's chest, but they stood together, equals in purpose. "Thank you," Taman said quietly. "No," Vorath replied. "Thank you. You showed me that strength comes in many forms. Now we will show the galaxy what that means." The Steadfast turned toward Sabil Station. 3 days until they arrived. 4 days until the pirates came. Somewhere in that narrow window they would need to find a miracle. Sabil Station hung in space like a great wheel spinning slowly. Lights dotted its surface, showing where 50,000 people lived and worked. To Taman, watching from the Steadfast's bridge, it looked beautiful and fragile at the same time. "We're here," Commander Dayung announced. 3 hours ahead of schedule. "Hyunwoo, you beautiful genius. From engineering," Hyunwoo's voice crackled over the speaker. "The engines are going to need a month of repairs, but we made it." Taman pulled up the station's defenses on his screen. His heart sank. 6 plasma cannons, 12 missile pods, shields that could maybe stop a few hits. Against 30 pirate ships, it was nothing. "This is Administrator Mirai of Sabil Station," a woman's voice came through. "Steadfast, we received your warning. We've started evacuating civilians, but we can't get everyone off in time." "How many can you evacuate?" Dayung asked, a pause. "Maybe 30,000. The rest will have to shelter in the lower sections and hope. Hope." Taman hated that word right now. Hope wasn't enough. They needed a plan. Vorath stood beside him, studying the station's layout on the screen. The big warrior had been quiet since they arrived, his 4 hands moving across the console as he analyzed everything. "The mining drones," Vorath said suddenly. "How many?" Taman checked. 240. But they're just civilian equipment. For cutting and moving asteroids. They have cutting lasers, yes? And they can be controlled remotely. Yes, but Taman stopped. His mind started racing. "You want to use them as weapons, not just weapons. Flying bombs. We program them to ram enemy ships. Their small size makes them hard to target. The lasers can damage hull plating. We overwhelm their point defense systems. Taemin's fingers flew across his keyboard, running calculations. It could work. It won't stop them, but it could slow them down. Damage enough ships that they have to be more careful. Dayoung walked over. Do it, what else? The station's shields are weak, but they can be reconfigured, Vorath continued. Instead of covering the entire station, we focus them on key sections. Make hard points. Force the pirates to come at us from specific directions. Where I can hit them with the station's weapons, Taemin added, catching on. We turn the whole station into a fortress. A small one, but better than nothing. Hyunwoo, Dayoung called. Can you and Vorath retrofit those mining drones? If Vorath tells me what he needs, I can make it happen. Give me 6 hours, you have 4. The pirates will be here in 21 hours. The next 4 hours passed in a blur. Hyunwoo and Vorath worked together in the station's engineering bay, converting mining drones into makeshift weapons. Despite barely speaking the same technical language, they understood each other. Hyunwoo would show Vorath a system. Vorath would nod and demonstrate a Krathel modification. Tools passed back and forth. Problems got solved through gestures and quick sketches. Taemin worked with Administrator Mirai, repositioning the station's weapons for maximum coverage. Mirai was a small woman with gray hair and steady hands. She'd run the station for 15 years. She wasn't going to abandon it without a fight. My daughter lives here, Mirai said quietly as they worked. Subin, she's 23. I got her on an evacuation ship this morning. She didn't want to go. You did the right thing, Taemin said. Did I? I'm staying. So are 20,000 others. We're asking people to die because there aren't enough ships. Taemin didn't know what to say. He just kept working. A young voice interrupted them. Administrator Mirai. They turned. A teenager stood there, maybe 16 years old, thin and nervous. He wore the uniform of a junior technician. Garam, Mirai said. You should be on an evacuation ship. I'm staying. I can help. I'm good with remote systems. I can operate the turrets, free up the trained fighters for other work. Absolutely not. You're a child? I'm 16, and everyone who knows how to fight needs to be fighting. I can do this from a safe location. Please. My parents already evacuated. I'm alone anyway. Mirai looked ready to argue, but Taemin put a hand on her arm. We need everyone who's willing. If he can operate turrets from a secure location, that helps. Mirai closed her eyes. When she opened them, they were wet. Fine, but you stay in the command center, behind 3 sets of blast doors. Understood? Garam nodded eagerly. Yes, ma'am. I won't let you down. 18 hours before the pirates arrived, the modifications were complete. 240 mining drones now floated in formation around the station. Their programming changed, their systems armed. The Steadfast had repositioned to the station's most vulnerable point. Vorath had shared everything he knew about the Crimson Tide's tactics. They will come in fast, Vorath explained to the gathered defense teams. Humans and the handful of other aliens on the station listened carefully. They use speed and numbers to overwhelm. Their first wave will be 20 ships. Trying to disable the station's weapons quickly, the other 10 will hang back, ready to exploit any opening. So we focus everything on that first wave, Dayoung said. Hit them so hard they have to reconsider. Yes, make them afraid. Pirates are bullies. They expect easy victories. Show them this will be costly and they might negotiate. And if they don't, someone asked. Vorath's expression was grim. Then we make them pay for every meter. The waiting was the hardest part. Taemin tried to sleep but couldn't. He found Vorath standing at an observation window staring out at the stars. Afraid? Vorath asked without turning. Terrified, Taemin admitted. You? Yes, fear is natural. It keeps us alive. But I have learned something from you humans. Fear does not mean stopping. It means being afraid and doing what must be done anyway. They stood together in silence for a moment. If we don't survive this, Taemin said, I want you to know I'm glad we met. You changed how I see things. Vorath turned his massive head, his alien features unreadable. And you changed me, small friend. You showed me that the measure of a being is not size or strength but character. Whatever happens tomorrow, I am honored to fight beside you. They clasped hands, Human and Krathel, friends facing the darkness together. The pirates arrived exactly when predicted. 30 ships, sleek and dangerous, painted in red and black. They came fast, expecting an easy raid on a defenseless colony. They got a surprise instead. The mining drones struck first, swarming out like angry insects. The pirates' point defense systems opened fire, destroying many, but there were too many targets. Dozens of drones slammed into hulls, their cutting lasers already firing. Explosions blossomed in space. "Now!" Taman shouted. The station's plasma cannons opened up, targeting the ships that were damaged and distracted. 2 pirate vessels exploded. A third lost engines and began tumbling. "They're breaking formation," Dayong reported. "Getting cautious." "Good," Vorath growled. Let them fear, but the pirates adapted. Their leader, a brutal Drogoth named Drakthar, was more clever than most pirates. He pulled back his damaged ships and sent the rest forward in a tight formation, supporting each other. They destroyed the remaining drones methodically. Then they opened fire on the station. The shields held. Barely. Warning lights flashed red across every console. The station shook with each impact. "Shields at 40%, someone called out. "Return fire. Target their engines," Taman ordered. Young Garam proved his worth, operating 3 turrets at once with quick, precise movements. His shots found targets, damaging ships, forcing them to maneuver. The Steadfast added its weapons to the defense, darting in and out, a small ship fighting with everything it had. But it wasn't enough. The pirates kept coming. More ships, more weapons. The shields were failing. "Shields at 10%, Mirai announced, her voice steady despite the disaster. "Boarding parties launching from their ships," Vorath warned. "They're going to try to take the station by force." Dayong grabbed her rifle. "All security teams to defensive positions. Prepare for boarding." Taman looked at Vorath. The big warrior was already checking his weapons, his forearms moving with practiced ease. "Together?" Taman asked. "Together," Vorath confirmed. They moved toward the airlock where the first breach would come. Behind them, the battle in space continued. Ahead of them, pirates were coming to kill everyone they could find. Taman checked his weapon. His hands were steady. Fear was there, yes, but so was determination. These people were counting on him. Vorath was beside him. Whatever came through that door, they would face it together. The airlock exploded inward. Smoke filled the corridor. Through it came shadows, armed and hostile. The real battle was about to begin. The first pirate through the smoke died before he saw what killed him. Vorath's plasma rifle fired twice, precise shots that dropped the raider instantly. Taman moved left, his smaller size letting him slip behind cover that Vorath couldn't use. His weapon barked 3 times. 2 more pirates fell. "Push forward," someone shouted from the smoke. More pirates poured through the breach, at least 20 of them. Various alien species, all armed, all desperate or cruel enough to attack a civilian station. "Fall back to the concourse," Taman ordered into his radio. "Fighting retreat. Don't let them spread out." The concourse was a wide-open area, 3 stories tall, with shops and restaurants on multiple levels. Normally it was filled with families and workers. Now it was a battlefield. Vorath and Taman reached it first, taking position behind overturned tables and planters. "They're coming from 3 breach points," Vorath said, checking his tactical display. "Trying to split our forces." "Concentrate on the main group first," Taman decided. "If we can stop the largest force, the others might hesitate." More defenders arrived, humans and aliens who called Sabiol home. Administrator Mirai ran past, rifle in hand, organizing people with quick commands. She'd lived through 2 previous pirate raids years ago. She knew how to fight. "Protect the evacuation routes," Mirai shouted. "Keep them away from the lower sections. Thousands of civilians are sheltering there." The pirates hit the concourse like a wave, 40, 50, maybe more. Energy weapons lit up the space with deadly colors. Vorath stood his ground, all 4 arms working. 2 held rifles, firing with mechanical precision. The other 2 threw grenades with perfect accuracy. He was a fortress, impossible to move, dealing death with every motion. Taman fought differently. He moved constantly, using cover, taking shots from unexpected angles. Where Vorath was a hammer, Taman was a blade. They'd never trained together, but somehow they fit. When Vorath drew fire, Taman flanked. When Taman needed covering fire, Vorath provided it without being asked. Young Garam's voice came over the radio. "I can see them from the security cameras. More pirates coming from the docking bay. At least 30. Can you seal the blast doors?" Taman asked. "Working on it. Give me 2 minutes." "We don't have 2 minutes," Vorath growled. "Then we make time," Taman said. "Everyone hold this position." Not one step back, the fighting was brutal. A defender fell beside Taman, hit by plasma fire. He dragged the wounded woman behind cover, applied a medical patch, and kept fighting. His rifle overheated. He switched to his backup weapon without missing a beat. Vorath took a hit to the shoulder. Blue blood sprayed, but he didn't stop. Another hit to his leg. He dropped to one knee but kept firing. A third hit would have killed anyone else, but Krathel were tough. Vorath just roared and fought harder. Blast doors sealed, Garam announced. The group from the docking bay is trapped in Corridor C7. Good work, Mirai said. Security Team 3 moved to eliminate them. But the pirates in the concourse weren't done. Their leader, a massive Drogath with cybernetic enhancements, pushed forward. He was 7 feet tall, all muscle and rage. He pointed at Vorath. The big one, the pirate leader snarled. Kill him first. 20 pirates concentrated their fire on Vorath. The Krathel warrior's shields flared and died. Shots hit his armor, cracking it. He stumbled back, bleeding from multiple wounds. Taman didn't think. He just moved. He sprinted across open ground, drawing fire away from Vorath. Shots exploded around him. One hit his shoulder, spinning him around. Pain flared hot and bright, but he kept moving. He reached Vorath and planted himself in front of the wounded warrior. What are you doing? Vorath shouted. Get to cover! No, Taman said, firing his weapon at the advancing pirates. You stood by me. I stand by you. You will die. Maybe, but not alone. And not today. Something changed in that moment. The other defenders saw it. A small human, wounded and bleeding, standing protectively in front of a massive alien warrior. It was impossible. It was insane. It was inspiring. With Taman, someone shouted. Hold the line! The defenders surged forward, their fear replaced by determination. If that small human could stand against overwhelming force, so could they. Mirai led a group from the left flank. Hienwu appeared with repair crews who'd grabbed weapons. Even civilians who'd stayed behind joined in, fighting with tools and improvised weapons. The pirates hesitated. This wasn't how raids were supposed to go. Colonies were supposed to surrender or die quickly. This station was fighting back with everything it had. Pull back, the Drogath leader ordered. Regroup at the... He never finished. Vorath's shot took him in the chest. The massive pirate leader fell, smoke rising from the hole in his armor. Without their leader, the pirates broke. They ran for their ships, fighting desperately now just to escape. The defenders pursued them, pushing them out of the station sector by sector. Taman sagged against Vorath. His shoulder burned. Blood soaked his uniform. The adrenaline was fading, replaced by pain and exhaustion. You saved my life, Vorath said quietly. Again! That's what friends do, Taman replied. You'd do the same. Yes, I would. I will. Medical teams arrived, trying to treat both of them. Vorath refused to move until Taman was stable. Taman refused to be carried until he knew the civilians were safe. Stubborn, both of them. Commander Dayong found them an hour later, sitting side by side against a wall. Both were bandaged, both looked terrible, both were smiling. The pirates are retreating, Dayong reported. We damaged 8 ships badly enough that they had to abandon them. The rest are pulling back. We won, for now, Vorath said. But they have not left the system. They are regrouping. The flagship is still out there. Let them regroup, Taman said tiredly. We'll be ready. But then alarms started blaring again. Garam's voice came over the radio, high and afraid. The flagship. It's charging weapons, some kind of massive energy cannon. They're going to fire at the station. Mirai's voice was steady but urgent. How long? 10 minutes. Maybe less. If that thing hits us, it'll destroy the entire station. The shields won't even slow it down. Taman's blood went cold. 20,000 people were still on this station. Wounded defenders. Civilians in the lower sections. Medical teams, engineers, families hiding in shelters. Can we evacuate? Someone asked. Not in 10 minutes, Dayong said flatly. Not even close. Vorath stood up, wincing from his wounds. Then we must stop them. Board the flagship. Destroy it from within. That's suicide, Hienwu said. But his voice showed he was already thinking about how to do it. Yes, Vorath agreed. But what choice do we have? I know that ship type. I know where the reactor is. If we can reach it, we can disable the weapon. Taman struggled to his feet. Then let's go. You are injured, Vorath protested. So are you. We're going anyway. Dayong looked at both of them. Her 2 best fighters, both wounded, both ready to die to save others. She wanted to order them to stay. She wanted to find another way. But there was no other way. Take Hyunwoo, she said finally. He can handle the technical work. And take 3 volunteers, move fast. You have maybe 8 minutes now. They gathered at the damaged pirate shuttle they'd captured. Taemin, Vorath, Hyunwoo, and 3 volunteers who knew they probably wouldn't come back. All of them were wounded. All of them were tired. None of them hesitated. One more time? Taemin asked Vorath. The big warrior managed to smile. One more time, small friend, together. The shuttle launched toward the massive flagship hanging in space. Somewhere on that ship was a weapon that would kill thousands. Somewhere was a way to stop it. They just had to survive long enough to find it. Behind them, Sibyul Station waited. 20,000 people holding their breath, hoping that a small group of warriors could do the impossible. In the command center, young Garam watched the shuttle on his screen. Good luck, he whispered. Please come back, but luck might not be enough this time. This would take everything they had and maybe more. The damaged pirate shuttle rattled as Hyunwoo pushed it toward the flagship. Warning lights flashed on every panel. The engines made sounds that no engine should make. But it flew, and that was all that mattered. 7 minutes, Vorath said, his deep voice tense. That weapon will fire in 7 minutes. Taemin checked his weapon for the 10th time. His shoulder still hurt from the earlier battle, but the pain helped keep him focused. Beside him, the 3 volunteers sat quietly. They were young, all of them. None over 30. All of them had volunteered without hesitation when told this was a one-way mission. Remember the plan, Taemin said. We're pretending to be returning pirates. Once we're aboard, we move fast and quiet to the reactor level. Hyunwoo disables the weapon. We get out. You make it sound easy, one volunteer said. His name was Junho, a maintenance worker who'd fought well in the concourse. It won't be, Vorath said honestly. But sometimes the impossible is all we have left. The flagship loomed larger, filling their view. It was massive, easily a kilometer long, bristling with weapons. Hundreds of pirates were aboard. Maybe thousands. The strike team was 6 people. Incoming transmission, Hyunwoo announced. They're hailing us. Answer it, Taemin ordered. Vorath, you talk. Your voice is more intimidating. Vorath activated the comm, letting static crackle for a moment before speaking. This is boarding party 7, returning with captured shuttle. Station defense was tougher than expected. We lost contact with the ground teams, a pause. Taemin held his breath. If the pirates didn't believe them, they'd be destroyed before they got close. Boarding party 7, proceed to docking bay 4. Report to Commander Vrash for debriefing. Acknowledged, Vorath said and cut the connection. We're in. The shuttle entered the flagship's docking bay. The massive space held dozens of ships, all stolen or modified. Pirates moved everywhere, carrying equipment, repairing damage, preparing for the next attack. None of them looked twice at the shuttle landing in an empty space. The strike team exited quickly, weapons hidden under stolen pirate coats they'd found on the shuttle. Taemin walked at the front, trying to look confident. Vorath hunched to hide his height. The volunteers kept their heads down. Which way? Hyunwoo whispered. Down, Vorath said. The reactor is always at the ship's core. 3 levels down, then across to the engine section. They found a service corridor and descended. The flagship's interior was dirty and poorly maintained. Rust stained the walls. Lights flickered. Pirates were criminals, not engineers. They stole ships but didn't care for them properly. 5 minutes, Vorath warned. They reached the 2nd level without incident. Then their luck ran out. A group of pirates rounded a corner, 5 of them, all heavily armed. For a moment, everyone froze. Hey, one pirate said. I don't recognize you. Taemin moved first. His weapon came up firing. The pirates scattered, shouting alarms. Gunfire filled the narrow corridor. Go, Taemin shouted. Get to the reactor. Vorath and Hyunwoo ran, taking 2 volunteers with them. Taemin and Junho stayed behind, holding the corridor. The pirates kept coming, more and more of them. Alarms blared throughout the ship. They know we're here, Junho said, firing around a corner. Doesn't matter, Taemin replied. We just need to buy time. They fought desperately, falling back meter by meter. Junho took a hit to the leg and went down. Taemin dragged him back, still firing. More pirates appeared. They were surrounded. Go, Junho gasped. I'll hold them. Noted, please. Let me matter. Junho smiled through the pain. Get to your friend. Save the station. Tell my wife I loved her. Taemin wanted to argue. There was no time. He gripped Junho's shoulder once, then ran. Behind him, Junho's weapon fired steadily until it didn't anymore. Vorath's team reached the reactor level. It was huge. a massive chamber filled with pulsing energy and complex machinery. And in the center, surrounded by consoles, was the weapon control system. There, Vorath pointed. That's what we need to destroy. It's locked, Hyunwoo said, fingers flying over the controls. Biometric locks. It needs the ship's captain to authorize any changes. Can you override it? Maybe, give me 10 minutes. We have 3, Vorath said. And company coming. Footsteps echoed from all directions. Dozens of pirates converging on their position. The 2 remaining volunteers took defensive positions at the corridor entrances. Whatever you're going to do it fast, one volunteer said. His name was Dae-hyun, a former soldier who'd retired to the colony. Now he fought one last battle. Pirates appeared. The volunteers opened fire. Vorath joined them, his forearms wielding weapons with deadly precision. They held the entrances, but barely. More pirates kept coming. 2 minutes, Hyunwoo muttered, working frantically. Come on, Dae-hyun went down, hit multiple times. The other volunteer, a young woman named So-min, ran to his position, firing with both hands. She held them for precious seconds before she fell too. Now it was just Vorath standing at the corridor entrance. Pirates pressed forward, dozens of them. He fired until his weapons overheated, dropped them and grabbed a fallen pirate's rifle. That emptied too. He grabbed another. His armor was cracked. Blue blood ran from multiple wounds. He'd already been injured from the station battle. Now he was fighting past what should have been possible. Taemin arrived, breathing hard, his own weapon nearly empty. He took position beside Vorath. Everyone else? Vorath asked, dead or dying. They bought us time. Then we make it count. Pirates filled the corridor ahead, more than they could possibly fight. This was it, the end. But neither Taemin nor Vorath moved. They stood side by side, weapons ready. 1 minute, Hyunwoo called. Almost there. We need to hold this corridor, Taemin said. Just 1 more minute. 1 minute, Vorath repeated. He looked down at Taemin. It has been an honor, small friend. The honor was mine, Taemin said. The pirates charged. Vorath and Taemin opened fire. Bodies fell, but more kept coming. Energy weapons lit the corridor with deadly fire. Taemin felt something hit his leg. He stumbled, but stayed up. Another hit to his side. Pain exploded through him, but he kept firing. Vorath roared, a sound of pure defiance. He dropped his rifle and grabbed a fallen pipe, swinging it like a club. Pirates flew back from his blows. He was a mountain, impossible to move, dealing death with every motion. Taemin's last weapon clicked empty. He grabbed a fallen pirate's blade and kept fighting, his vision blurred from blood loss. His body screamed for him to stop. He didn't stop. They stood back to back now, holding a space maybe 5 meters wide. The narrow corridor helped them. Pirates couldn't swarm them all at once. They had to come through the bottleneck, and in that bottleneck, Vorath and Taemin were a wall. One human stood bravely beside a massive alien warrior. Stories would be told about this moment. Songs would be sung, but right now there were only 2 friends, bleeding and broken, refusing to fall. Done, Hyunwoo shouted. Weapon disabled! The reactor will shut down in 10 seconds. Relief flooded through Taemin. They'd done it. 20,000 people would live. Can you escape? Vorath asked Hyunwoo. There's a maintenance shaft. I can reach an escape pod. But you two, will follow, Taemin lied. They both knew the truth. They couldn't move. Too many wounds. Too much blood lost. Go, Vorath ordered. Tell them what we did. Tell them it mattered. Hyunwoo hesitated, tears in his eyes. Then he ran. The pirates tried to follow, but Vorath and Taemin blocked the way. Always blocking. Never yielding, the reactor shut down. Emergency lights activated. Alarms screamed about system failures. The massive weapon that would have killed thousands went silent. Taemin's legs gave out. He slumped against the wall, sliding down. Vorath collapsed beside him, all 4 arms hanging loose. Around them, pirates hesitated, unsure what to do now that their weapon was disabled. Think we'll make it? Taemin asked weakly. No, Vorath said honestly, but we won anyway. Yeah, we did. Taemin managed to smile. Thanks for being my friend. Thank you for showing me what friendship means, Vorath replied. They sat together, Human and Krathel, waiting for the end. But then they heard something. Weapons fire, but different. Organized military. This is Commander Dae-young of the Steadfast. A voice boomed over the ship's speakers. Pirates of the Crimson Tide, you are surrounded. Galactic Council reinforcements have arrived. Surrender immediately or be destroyed. Taman laughed, which hurt. Cavalry came early. Humans, Vorath said, and it sounded like affection. Always surprising. The pirates around them dropped their weapons. Medical teams poured in moments later. Someone pressed a medical injector against Taman's neck. The world started to fade, but this time into healing sleep instead of death. The last thing Taman saw was Vorath's face, the big warrior smiling as medics worked on his wounds. They'd made it. Against all odds, they'd survived together. Taman woke slowly. Everything hurt, but it was a distant hurt, wrapped in painkillers and medical technology. White ceiling, clean sheets, the smell of antiseptic, a hospital room. He was alive. About time, Hyunwoo said from beside the bed. His friend looked tired with dark circles under his eyes, but he was smiling. You've been asleep for 5 days. For Wrath? Taman asked, his voice rough. 3 rooms down. He's been awake for 2 days. Keeps asking about you. Kreth'll heal faster than humans. Hyunwoo's smile widened. You two are heroes. The whole galaxy is talking about what you did. Taman tried to sit up, winced, and settled back. What happened after we passed out? The Galactic Council fleet arrived just in time. Turns out Commander Dayoung sent a distress signal the moment we got to Sebiol Station. The fleet pushed hard to get here. They captured the pirate flagship and arrested everyone aboard. The rest of the Crimson Tide scattered. It's over. The station, the people, everyone who stayed is alive. 18,643 people. All alive because you and Vorath bought Hyunwoo those extra minutes. Hyunwoo's voice got thick. The volunteers who came with us, Junyo, Daehyun, Somin, they didn't make it, but they'll be remembered. Everyone will remember. Taman closed his eyes. 3 people dead so thousands could live. It wasn't fair, but it was war. Nothing about war was fair. Over the next week, Taman healed. Slowly. His shoulder needed reconstructive surgery. His leg would have a permanent scar. But he was walking, talking, and most importantly, he could visit Vorath. The Krathel warrior sat in a medical bed that had been specially reinforced to hold his weight. His blue-gray skin was healing, new tissue growing over the worst wounds. All 4 arms were in various stages of recovery. Small friend, Vorath said warmly. You look terrible. You look worse, Taman replied, grinning. But we're both alive. Against all odds. Vorath gestured at a small screen beside his bed. Have you seen the news feeds? Taman hadn't. Vorath pulled them up. Hundreds of articles. Thousands of social media posts. Video footage from the station's security cameras, showing their last stand in the corridor. Someone had titled it, One Human Stood Bravely Beside a Massive Alien Warrior. The footage showed everything. Taman refusing to leave Vorath's side in the concourse. The 2 of them defending the reactor corridor against impossible odds. The moment they collapsed together, still protecting each other even as they fell. It's everywhere, Vorath said quietly. Every planet, every station, every ship. Humans and Krathel watching what we did. Our peoples have been cold to each other for decades. Now they see something different. They see friendship. They see loyalty. They see what's possible when we stand together. I didn't do it for politics, Taman said. I did it because you're my friend. I know. That's why it matters so much. 2 weeks after the battle, something unprecedented happened. The Krathel High Council requested a formal meeting with Taman and Vorath. Commander Dayoung accompanied them, along with several human diplomats. The meeting took place aboard a Krathel warship, in a chamber built for warriors 3 times human size. The High Council consisted of 7 massive Krathel, the oldest and most honored warriors of their species. They sat on elevated platforms looking down at the visitors. It should have been intimidating. It probably was meant to be. Vorath, son of Krath, the lead counselor said. His voice echoed through the chamber. You have brought honor to our people through your actions. Speak of the human who fought beside you. Vorath stood straight despite his healing wounds. Counselors, I was taught that strength is measured in size and combat ability. I was taught that humans are weak, unworthy of respect. I was wrong. The chamber went silent. This human saved my life when I was helpless. He stood by my side in battle. He protected me when I fell. He fought past his injuries, past his fear, past what should have been possible. He is small, yes, but his spirit is that of a warrior. His loyalty is absolute. His courage is beyond question. If humanity is weak, then I wish our people possessed such weakness. Taman felt his face heat. Vorath's words were more than praise. They were a challenge to everything the Krathel believed. The lead counselor studied Taman for a long moment. "Human, what do you have to say?" Taman stepped forward. His leg still hurt, but he didn't limp. "Honored counselors, I'm just a tactical officer. I'm not a diplomat or a warrior by your standards. I'm ordinary. But I learned something from Vorath. Strength isn't just in how hard you hit. It's in refusing to fall. It's in protecting others. It's in standing together when the darkness comes. Vorath taught me what true honor means. He's the best friend I've ever had." Another long silence. Then the lead counselor did something Taman never expected. He stood and placed all 4 hands over his chest, a gesture of highest respect. "Taman of the humans, you have earned the respect of the Krathel people. Vorath, you have earned the title of Blood Brother to the Stars, the highest honor we can give. From this day forward, you stand as equal to any counselor." Vorath's eyes widened. That title was given maybe once a century. "Furthermore," the counselor continued, "the High Council proposes a formal alliance between humanity and the Krathel, a military exchange program, joint training, shared knowledge. What you two accomplished alone, our peoples could accomplish together. We have been fools to dismiss humanity. We see that now." Commander Dayong stepped forward, tears in her eyes. "On behalf of humanity, we accept." The next months passed in a blur. Taman received every military honor the human government could give. Vorath received similar honors from his people. More importantly, the alliance took shape. Young Krathel warriors came to human space stations to train. Human officers went to Krathel warships. Cultural exchanges began. Prejudices slowly faded. Taman became the first human officer in the Krathel military exchange program. Vorath was assigned as permanent liaison to human forces. They requested to serve together, and their governments agreed. They were assigned to a new joint task force, a mixed crew of humans and Krathel working side by side. Sabiel Station was rebuilt, bigger and stronger. A memorial was erected in the concourse where they'd made their stand. 3 statues, Junho, Daehyun, and Somin, the volunteers who gave everything. Every year, people gathered there to remember. Young Garam, the teenager who'd operated the turrets, joined the military. He wanted to serve on Taman and Vorath's ship. After training, he got his wish, becoming one of their best pilots. Administrator Mirai remained at Sabiel Station. Her daughter Subin returned and opened a school there, teaching children about the day when different species stood together against evil. Hyunwoo led the engineering division on the joint fleet. His innovations, combining human creativity with Krathul durability, revolutionized ship design. Commander Dayong was promoted to admiral and oversaw the entire human Krathul alliance. She often said that the best decision she'd ever made was responding to that distress signal from a damaged Krathul warship. 5 years after the Battle of Sabiol Station, Taman and Vorath stood together on the observation deck of their ship. Around them, the joint fleet conducted training exercises. Human ships and Krathul warships moved in perfect coordination. On every vessel, mixed crews worked together as naturally as breathing. "Do you remember what you asked me once?" Vorath said, watching the fleet. "You asked if I was afraid. I remember. You said fear was natural. I'm not afraid anymore. Not when I look at this. We built something good, you and I, something that will last." Taman smiled. "We did, didn't we? All because you crashed and I refused to leave you behind. All because you saw a person instead of an alien." Vorath corrected. "You taught me that lesson. Now thousands know it." A junior officer approached, a young Krathul named Borum. She saluted both of them with all 4 hands. "Sirs, Admiral Dayong requests your presence. There's a situation developing in the Outer Rim. Pirates again." Taman and Vorath exchanged glances. After 5 years, they could communicate with just a look. "Tell the Admiral we're on our way," Taman said. As Borum left, Vorath checked his weapons, a habit he'd never lost. "Ready for another fight, small friend?" "Always," Taman replied. "As long as we face it together." They walked toward the bridge, human and Krathul, 2 warriors who'd changed the galaxy. Behind them, through the observation window, the joint fleet flew in formation. Hundreds of ships, thousands of people, all because of what they'd started. The story of their stand had spread to every corner of known space. Parents told it to children at bedtime. Soldiers repeated it before battles. Diplomats referenced it in treaties. It became more than history. It became legend. One human stood bravely beside a massive alien warrior. Together they showed the galaxy what was possible when courage met honor, when friendship defeated prejudice, when two people refused to give up on each other. Years later, historians would debate which moment mattered most. Was it when Taman first refused to leave the wounded Vorath? When they stood back to back in the concourse? When they held the reactor corridor against impossible odds? But those who knew them understood the truth. Every moment mattered. Every choice to stand together instead of apart. Every time they chose friendship over fear. They'd started as strangers from species that didn't trust each other.